Hello everyone, and welcome to our new episode of the Expat Career and Lifestyle podcast. This is Dominika Miernik, your host, and today I have a very special guest with me, Emee Vida Estacio. She's based in the UK. She's a psychologist and also founder of PAME Code and author. And today with Emee, we are going to speak about how to find the time to write a book. So welcome, Emee. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Dominika.
You're welcome. I am so excited to have you back. Emee was also a guest on our summit. So please tell us more about you. Why did you start to write your book? So tell us more about you and what are you doing?
Well, my background is actually in psychology. I've been studying psychology for more than 20 years now. But in my former career, I've actually been teaching at the university. Now, I'm a former university psychology lecturer. But it felt to me that even if I know so much about psychology and I'm teaching it in the university with my students, I felt as if I wasn't doing enough. It felt as if I wasn't reaching enough people and helping enough people by just staying in academia. So I was driven to actually share what I know about psychology to wider audiences. And what better way to do that is, than by writing books, self-help books that I can put on Amazon that can be accessed by millions of readers around the world.
Yeah, so you have exactly wrote 3 books so far, yeah? If I'm
Yes, that's correct. It's actually called the Psychology in Your Life series. It's all available on Amazon. And I actually do have 3 formats for it. I have it on print, I have it on Kindle, I have it on audiobook. So, if people like to listen instead of reading, when they go to the gym or when they are driving or whatever, they can listen to the books. But they're all on Amazon. It's all on applied psychology, using psychology in life.
Mhm.
The first is called Change Your Life for Good. So it's using psychology to make changes in your life, whether you want to change a habit or to change your job or just to escape an abusive relationship or whatever. Change Your Life for Good can give you techniques on how you can turn your life around. The second is about imposter syndrome remedy. So
Mhm.
if people are feeling like they are a fraud, if they're feeling self-doubt, and if they're feeling incompetence, they can read about imposter syndrome remedy and how they can cope with, feelings of incompetence and inadequacy at work. And the third one is called Fear is Not My Enemy. So, it's about overcoming fear and maximizing fear, actually looking at fear not as an enemy, but it's something that tells you, look, there is a risk. You have to consider the risks, but that shouldn't really stop you from getting on with what you need to do. So the book really shows you how you could tap into your fear and use it to your advantage, to drive you forward and get on with what you need to do.
Great, very interesting. So I am reading the book about fear right now. Yeah, the
Oh,
third one.
fantastic. Oh, and I think you were featured in that book too, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Had
Yeah.
that interview about the courage to live overseas, live and work overseas. Is that correct? So
Yeah,
you're a feature person in that book.
yeah, great. Yeah. Yeah. So you are also the founder of PAME Code. So what exactly does it mean, PAME?
Yeah, right. Well, the PAME code is actually taken from the Greek word PAME. If you heard Greeks before, they all say PAME, PAME. It actually means let's go together. So it means that whatever we do in life, we can actually go together, and life is actually more enjoyable when we try to share our joys, our challenges. With other people, we don't have to carry our burden or keep our successes to ourselves. We can share it with other people. But at the same time, I've borrowed the word PAME and use it as an acronym,
Mhm.
which means purpose, action, momentum, and energy. It means that whatever we do in life, we need to always remind ourselves and ground ourselves in our purpose. But we also have to couple that with action, because if all we have are intentions, we have a purpose, but we don't translate it into action, it actually means nothing. So you have your purpose, you take action, keep the momentum, making sure that you are consistent in what you do. But at the same time, you have to keep up the positive energy. You wouldn't want to burn yourself out in the process. So it's all about having a sense of purpose, taking action, keeping up the momentum, and maintaining that positive energy around you.
Mm, I like it. It's a great idea to use it, and also like the purpose and the why behind the name. It's very inspiring. Yeah,
Ah,
so I
thank
like it
you.
very much. Yes, so you wrote your books while working, being in a career transition, and also becoming a mom. And I know, so I am not a mom, and I haven't wrote my book yet, but I know that like the main objective of many people, and also mine objective, or like my obstacle and challenge, is to find the time to write it, because when you are in business, for example, or you are having all those changes in your life, it is difficult to find the time and to write a book, and it can be also an excuse. So like based on your experience, so I know that you have 5 fantastic steps to share with us to find the time. So how to find the time exactly and write books while you are busy with your life and business.
Yes, well, actually, I hear this from aspiring authors all the time. When I ask them, so do you want to write a book? Oh, yes, yes, it's my lifelong ambition. I've always wanted to write a book. And then I would ask, okay, so why aren't you doing it? Why haven't you written your book yet? And usually the first answer is, I haven't got the time. I'm just so busy. I can't find the time. What I would say to that is, me and you, everybody, we all have the same number of hours in the day. We all have the same number of hours in the week. So it's not really a matter of we don't have the time. It's a matter of how do we choose to spend our time. We have the same amount of time. It's a matter of choosing where you spend your time on. And if you want to write a book, the first decision that you have to make, the first step that you have to make, is to make a conscious decision to write a book. To make it, instead of just saying I hope or I wish to
Mhm.
write a book, you actually make a conscious choice to write it. Instead of saying I hope, you will say I will write
Mm.
my book. If you skip that step, and if you don't make that conscious decision to write your book, your dream of writing and publishing your book will never come true. Because if you are hoping that spare time will just come, it will never come. It will never ever come, because there will always be something more urgent, something that is more top priority than your book, and your book will just get pushed to the side. So the number one step, the first step that you need to take if you want to write your book, and especially if you want to find the time to write your book, is make a conscious decision and a clear statement that you will write your book. And when you make that conscious decision and commitment, I would even encourage you to write it down so it becomes concrete, making it real to you. It's almost like a pledge. I will write my book. And if you can, have a witness.
Mm.
If you can find someone who could see you make that commitment, or have someone who can keep you accountable, you are more likely to make it happen. Whether it is just on a personal level, like I tell you, look, Dominica, I'm going to write my book. I promise, I pledge to write my book in 90 days, and you can hold me accountable to that. Or if you are braver, some of my students actually make a commitment publicly. I encourage them to make that public commitment in my group. I have the self-publishing made simple group, and I have my students in there making a public commitment to say, look, I'm going to write 500 words for my book this week. So it's just a small chunk of the book, but they are making that public commitment of getting on and moving forward with their book. And it gets done because people are watching you, and you wouldn't want to to fall down and say, you don't stick to your commitment. So first step, make a commitment, and if you can, keep yourself accountable to that commitment. Was that helpful? That's actually just the first step.
Yeah, I think it's very important, like committing and not like wishing, and also making it public that you are going actually to write the book and having someone who is like checking on you. Yeah, so I think it's, yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So if you're planning to write a book, if you want to write a book, the number one step, and do not skip this step, is make a conscious decision to do it and make a commitment. Keep yourself accountable. Tell someone else, or if you want to go public on social media, you can do that too. So
Mhm.
that's a first step. The second step is you can say, wait, okay, I make my commitment, but I still haven't found the time.
Yeah.
I still haven't found it. Where am I gonna fit it in? Okay, so if you think that you don't have the time, the second step is actually for you to make time, right? You're
Mhm.
not going to find the time just like that. You have to make it happen. So in my case, if you ask me how I did it, this is how my routine looked like when I was working on my book. We would wake up at 8 in the morning because that's when my son wakes up.
Mhm.
Prepare, we get ready for school, we get ready for work. We start work at 9, we finish at 5. We pick up my son at work, from the nursery at 6 in the evening. And then we get home, have dinner, and get ready for bed, and that's it. So the whole day is done, and you think, okay, where's the book there? So I couldn't find the time during the day, so I had a close look at my calendar and check, do I have like pockets of time that I can find anywhere. I couldn't find anything during the day. So what I did is I woke up at 6 in the morning before my son wakes up at 8. So that's Monday to Friday from 6 till 8 in the morning. I woke up and wrote my book 2 hours a day, Monday to Friday. That's 10 hours a week. Okay, I had to sleep in during the weekend because, I need my sleep. But that was enough. I was writing 2 hours a day, Monday to Friday, concentrated block time just for my book. I wouldn't find it anywhere else. Some people, they don't have that spare time. Well, you wouldn't call it spare. It is a conscious choice to allocate my time for my book. Some people don't have that 2 hours a day. They might just have 1 hour on Monday, maybe they have 1 hour on Thursday, maybe 2 hours at the weekend. That's absolutely fine. But sooner or later, you will actually, if you had a close look at your calendar, you will find pockets of time that you can dedicate for your book instead. So for example, you might see that you are spending 2 hours a day on Instagram, for example. Well, do you really have to spend that much time on Instagram? Can you just make it 30 minutes on that day and spend 1 hour on your book instead? You know what I mean? So there is time, but it's making, first of all, that conscious decision to write your book. And second, committing yourself, blocking some specific times in your calendar to work on your book, whether it's an hour a day or whether it's just an hour on Monday, an hour on Tuesday, 2 hours on a Saturday. But just find that blocked, consistent, undistracted time in your calendar to work on your book. It's not going to be forever. Once you've written your book, it's done. It's only going to be for another 2 or 3 months. For example, most books these days, especially nonfiction books, they are about 12 to 15,000 words. It doesn't take that much time to write that book. About 15,000 words, it's about 1.5 to 2 hours worth of talk. So
Mhm.
if you can talk that long on a particular topic, then that's it. You can write a book, just like that. So that's the second tip. After you've made your commitment, which was the first step, the second is to look at your calendar and find those blocks of time that you can dedicate and commit just to write your book. Nothing else, just focus on your book on those specific times.
Yeah, so it's like allocating, like booking this time to write a book. And I like that you say that you can like have 2 hours per day, or like 1 hour per day, or like also working on your book during the weekend. So it's like looking at your
Yes, absolutely. And actually I found that really helpful because I would start my day writing from 6 to 8 and then I stop. And during the day I'm actually still thinking about my book, because I'm just thinking, okay, that was interesting. How can I spin it? So the during my next writing session, I have some fresh ideas that I could incorporate, or I rarely experience writer's block because I will only write for 2 hours in the day, but that's already focused. The next day I sort of know what I will write next because I'm thinking about it during the day while I'm eating, for example. I may not be writing, but I'm thinking about what I've just written and what I might want to write about the following day, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you have this, like, you are keeping this momentum, let's say, of writing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's actually what I'm going to say. I would encourage you not to do it just once a week.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do it every day, even just an hour a day or every other day or something like that. But if you can keep up the momentum in that way, because sometimes if you have these long breaks in between your writing periods, you might forget where you were at or what you were writing about. So it's actually good to just keep the momentum, even an hour a day, 2 hours a day. That will keep you going for the next 6 to 8 weeks, for example, and you'll be done after that.
Hmm. Great, great. So what is the third step? Yeah.
The third step, okay. So now that you've already blocked the time, the third step is actually knowing what you're going to write about, knowing about your topic. But the problem is a lot of aspiring authors again have a problem with that, because
Mm.
when you ask them, so what do you want to write about? And they say, oh, I don't really, I have so many ideas, I have so much knowledge, there's so much to write about. And I get that, you've been holding on to this dream for so long that you have so many ideas in your head that you don't know where to start, right? So what I try to do is I try to flip that question and I say, okay, instead of focusing on what you want to write about, let me ask you this: who do you want to reach with
Mm.
your book? Who do you want to help? Who do you want? Who's the person you want to read? Who is the person who would you like to read your book? So you have to think about your audience, and when you think about your audience, you have to think of a very specific person. If you can imagine a very specific person reading your book, ask yourself, what does this person need? What does she want to know? What is she struggling with, and how can I help her? So instead of asking yourself, what shall I write about? You ask, what can I write to help this person? If that
Mm-hmm.
makes any sense. So it's becoming very specific to your audience's needs, and you write a book to that specific need. If you have so many things to write as well, you can also cut it in bite sizes. You can have a series. So for example, in my case, book one was Change Your Life for Good, which is something broad. And then book two is something more specific about self-doubt. And then book three is more specific about fear. So you
Mm-hmm.
can do that. You can cut them into bite sizes, so it's easier to digest for your audience as well, and it's easier to imagine what what does this person need about this particular topic, and what can I do, what can I write to help them resolve this very specific problem.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's like having in mind who is your ideal, who is your ideal reader, who are you writing for, and then writing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So instead of just because you have so much knowledge and information in your head that you can't spill it all out in one go, think of a very specific person who has a very specific need, and write a book to help that person. It will be so much easier to pin down a topic in that way, and to also map out what you're going to write in your book. And if
Mm.
you ask me, what I do to get into the head of my readers, if you like, is
Mm-hmm.
I talk to them. Actually, I engage with my audience. I also do my market research. I do my keyword research, like before I start writing my book, I will actually do a keyword research and see what sort of books people are looking for
Mm.
on Amazon. So, for example, when I wrote my book on imposter syndrome, I found that there are 4,000 searches on that keyword on Amazon per month. So to me, I'm thinking, oh, a lot of people need this help. I'm going to write about that.
Mm.
But or for example, with my book on fear, I did a keyword research on that. A lot of people are looking for a book to help them manage their fear. So that's it. I wrote a book on that. I and even if there were already other books on that topic, what I did, I looked at the reviews of existing books and I checked out what what are the gaps. What, there's already a book out there, but what are the other things that people are looking for? So what they were looking for is that they don't want to know so much about the theories about fear. What they want are techniques.
Mm.
How can they manage their fear and get on with their lives? So that's what I provided. You have to listen to your audience, actually do your market research, do your keyword research, so your topic will actually be in line with what your audience are asking for.
Mm. Great, great. So it's like even in business, when you are launching like a product, or even if you are looking for a career transition, you have to do your research before to exactly check what people are looking for. Yeah, so yeah, applying the same strategy. If you are a
The
business
same
owner, yeah, and you are
principles.
thinking about writing a book, so you can apply the same strategy to research before exactly. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Great, great. Yeah, so
So,
we
so
have
that's
commitment.
that's actually the third step.
Yeah, we have commitment.
We
Then
have commitment. You have to block your time, and then you need to know what you have to write about. But it's not about what you want to write about. It's about what your audience, what your readers are looking for, and you write a book that will serve your audience, if that makes any sense. So it's not your ego boost, if you
mhm.
know what I mean. It's not to write a book just to prove that you can. It's
Mm.
actually writing a book because you want to serve it and help others from from what from the knowledge, your story, your skills, and share it with other people to help them in some way.
Mm.
So those are the first three steps. The fourth step is the outline. Now that you have a commitment, you have a block time, you know what you're writing about. The next step is to map it all out. And I usually just spend about half an hour to lay out what I'm going to write. I set out the chapters, the chapter titles, the aim of each chapter. I outline the three key points that I want to cover in each chapter. I don't want too much information in one chapter. I'd like to spread it out. I sometimes I address one issue at a time per chapter, and then provide some techniques that would address that specific problem. And from what I've noticed from my readers, the feedback that I got is that they also like stories. So when you are telling about a technique, they actually want examples from real life stories, and just makes the book more personable and more real to the readers. And because I'm an academic, I also add some research.
Yeah,
Some research,
exactly.
some references for all the nerds out there who would like to read some academic research papers that support the techniques that I teach. So that's it. Have an outline. That's the fourth step. And finally, once you have a clear outline, then you're good to go. You're good to start writing, because once you have a clear idea of what the book is going to look like, writing will be such a breeze. um, for some people who don't feel confident about their writing, what I would encourage them to do is to actually
Mm.
talk about their book. I would encourage them to, okay, go through your outline and record yourself talking about each bits in your outline, and then transcribe it later, and then have it edited later, so it becomes a book. So there are people who are just natural writers. Once they have an outline, they'll know how to write. Well, there are some people, when they see a blank page, they freeze. So, for those people who aren't confident about writing, what you can do, you can talk through a dictaphone, through a voice recorder, um, you know, have your knowledge out of your head in that way. Transcribe it, transcribe your recording and then edit it and turn it into a book later.
Mm-hmm. So the fifth step is to start writing. Yeah?
Yes, to start writing. Or as I've said, if you're not comfortable with writing, just get the information out of your head. For writers, you put it on paper. For the not so confident writers, speak it. Speak your knowledge. Have it recorded, transcribe it, and then edited so it could become a book.
Great. Yeah. So, like now, writing a book after those 5 steps that you have shared with us, I think it seems very easy to commit, allocate time, then do the research and start writing, and also preparing your outline. So now everything like seems more effortless. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah.
But sometimes we actually do start with these good intentions, like you're so much, I'm gonna do it, but writing can be such a lonely process, and you can be all fired up at the start, and then you find that it fizzles away halfway because it's not easy for some people. So what I would encourage you to do as well is to find a support group, or find an accountability person who can keep you motivated to carry on with your writing. And also always remember your purpose. Remember, PAME, why are you writing a book? Is it to help other people, or is maybe you're writing a book also to promote your business, to let more people know about who you are and about your business? Or maybe you are writing a book to have another income stream for your family. Whatever it is, always remember your purpose and anchor yourself in your purpose, and let that purpose drive you forward.
Fantastic, beautiful, Emee. So thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us today. Please tell us more. Where can we find more information about you? And I also know that you have a fantastic free gift for our listeners. So tell us more.
Oh, yes. I actually have this roadmap, this self-publishing made simple roadmap. So your listeners can actually download that roadmap. It lists all of the steps, the steps that we've discussed today, and also additional steps on what you need to do after you've written your draft. So for some people, they know what to do in terms of writing, but what happens after that? Getting your cover designer, getting your formatting, editing, and so on. So that particular checklist will give you an outline of what you need to do every step of the way for your writing and self-publishing needs. If people want to have some accountability and peer support, we also have a self-publishing made simple Facebook group. I go in that group every week live, for Q&A. So if anyone has any questions about writing or self-publishing, then I'm just there to offer that support. And if people want more hand-holding and personal support, I also provide coaching and that one-to-one accountability and support for those people who need that kind of personal coaching with me on writing and self-publishing.
Great. Thank you very much for sharing that. So I will put all the information with the show notes, so you can go and download Emee's free gift. So thank you very much again for being with us today. It was a pleasure to have you here again, and to listen to your knowledge and all the expertise about writing a book and finding the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dominica. I hope you found that helpful.
Yes. Thank you very much for listening to this interview. So please tell us, what are your thoughts, questions, doubts, and what are you going to do after listening to this interview? Share in the comments, and I will be back soon with another fantastic guest. Thank you very much, and bye.